Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 159 at scavengerlife.com. And we're talking about what's going on in our store this week.
What's happening?
Take two! And the reason I say that is because we just started recording the podcast, and we did a whole big section of the podcast, and then we got in a big fight. And now we're starting again.
Yeah. I think Ryan, I was talking about the difference between Amazon and eBay, and I think Ryan just got sick of us always talking about that.
I certainly did, yes. I think it's interesting that people want to do Amazon FBA. I just am a little bit tired of talking about it all the time, so I got a little bit frustrated about that. And for me, it's just like, we do eBay, we like eBay, and that's what we're doing right now. That's what we're focusing on, and that's what I want to talk about. So
cool. So that's going to be the official line for Scavenger Life.
for this episode, anyway. Yeah. So we're going to talk about what we're doing in eBay.
Yeah.
This week.
So this week we sold, because we always start with our numbers, because I think it's good to ground the conversation in like
reality,
what actually we sold.
Yes,
because that helps alleviate any kind of fear that a person may have over their store. So we sold 41 items, and we grossed about $1,700.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So it's more than $200 a day.
Yep.
I mean, that's good. And actually, at first I was like, that's it's still kind of slow. For us, we haven't had that big rush.
Yeah.
For like holiday shopping yet, and I guess I just forget. Like, does it start
when does
in October?
It start? Yeah.
I mean, like, when is this going to start?
Yeah. I think we're not the only people who are having that feeling.
But then I look back though at last October and the one before that, and we made about the same amount in October. So
then that's okay.
I mean, again, that's why I think looking at the numbers is good, because it feels like things are slow, but really, I think what might be happening is our expectation just has grown year by year.
Gotcha.
We start getting tired of, we only made $200 in a day, when really 3 years ago, 4 years ago, we would have been psyched if that was true.
And it's just like becoming normal, which is what we've been working up to. Like, that's our goal has always been $300 a day. Yeah. So if we can get close to that on average, then we're getting there. Like
last month, October, we grossed $8,200 in the month. Let me see, divided by 30. So, that's like $275 average a day. It didn't feel like that, though, because there were some days where we made like $75, but then there'd be other days where we make like $500.
Right.
But, and then if you imagine, though, remember, that's gross. If you cut 20% out of that for fees and inventory costs and whatever. So we took home in our pockets about $6,000, which is amazing.
We did get a lot of returns last month, too. So is that factored in?
Yeah.
Okay, that's factored in. Okay, good.
It's factored in. So
I wish we didn't get those returns.
Right, we would have had a better month.
Yeah.
So I think some of it too is just, or at least I think as our store is there, you start wanting to keep it growing. And I think that's one of the things. We aren't going to go deep into it with Amazon. I think that's why a lot of people do get into Amazon, because there is, when you sell on eBay, especially vintage and one-of-a-kind things, I think everyone finds there is a ceiling. There's only so much you can list by it yourself or with another person, and I think that's why people get into Amazon, is just because there's a limit, because it's more about just how much you can send into FBA.
It's how much money you have, and how much, like you said, there's no storage limit, there's no those limitations are gone.
So it's good we do this, and it's good we kind of talk about our numbers together, because I just think we have to remind ourselves we're doing okay. We're making the money we need to make and more.
Right.
We're almost done finishing that rental house. It's going to be ready
close.
It's going to be ready. It's for the springtime. It's going to be awesome.
Yep. Yep.
you know, and I have to think about for October, us making that kind of cash is amazing because we were gone for much of that month.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
we weren't listing. We did nothing but answer questions and like take people's money, basically,
so
and eventually ship.
You know, I mean, imagine if we had told ourselves that was what we were building up to when we were like living in my dad's basement. You know?
Right.
Amazing. You know, when you know we were making like $300 a month, you know, $500 a month.
I mean, you really, like, Jay reminds me, like, you really can't take it for granted. Like, when you're like, oh boy, we made $8,200 this month, and
is that it?
we didn't even list one item the whole month, actually for 2 months. It's like, okay, seriously, that's amazing.
I mean, it really does feel like we've kind of gotten away with something. You know, it feels like we figured out a secret. You know,
right?
Like they never taught it you in school.
Yeah, it does feel like that.
Yeah,
but
so you know, just when there are those conversations on the blog or just online about, you know, is eBay blowing up? Is like,
are the small sellers getting squeezed out? I mean, are they going to get rid of vintage?
Our personal experiences, we don't see that.
Right.
We still see people buying weird things from us. We're always selling these weird things. I'm looking at a pile of weird things we're going to post online.
I'm looking at 2 piles. 1, 2.
Those are going to sell. So,
but I think the part of it too is like that argument of eBay's trying to squeeze out the small seller. It's not going to be like the yard sale anymore. I have heard that argument since we started, from the beginning. Right. I get it because, you know, they changed the rules and it's uncomfortable and it sucks and it makes it worse and all this stuff, but
I get it. Like, it would be nice if you went to the front page of eBay and instead of right now, just go there right now. It's like
handbags.
It's like handbags and brand new clothes,
watches,
watches
all that
and
stuff.
iPads. I get it. Like, that has nothing to do with what we sell. I wish you could go there. It's funky and cool.
Yeah, sure.
But it doesn't matter because people go to eBay and then they just start doing searches.
Yeah.
And then they find us.
They find stuff.
That's all that matters.
Right. And it works.
Yeah.
I mean, we are proof that it works.
If we need to be in a place where, like, you go to the front page and it's all funky, you go to Etsy. But you know what? No one goes to Etsy to buy stuff.
Some people do, but not the volume that I need to, like, pay my bills.
So those are our numbers and how we feel. I mean, so, you know, things we sold this week was today?
Yes, we sold some lamps today, and I was very happy. We bought these lamps at this little dinky little auction in Florida because we were, like, down in Florida.
It was like one of those times when we were in Florida, we were visiting
my family. That's right.
And we do this. This is part of our lifestyle where we go out to an auction just for a fun night.
It was like a Friday night. We were like, what should we do? Let's just look on estatesale.net or whatever.
It was like these
auction.com.
It was all these like Florida rednecks, pickers, and it was like in this little dingy kind of room.
It was like a basement VFW hall.
It was so much fun. It was.
Oh my god, we bought the craziest stuff. People were looking at us like we were insane.
Buying like hockey sticks.
We bought hockey sticks. Good thing was we had our car. We had driven to Florida, which was crazy because the United States is huge. So driving from Virginia to Florida takes like 2.5 days.
Right.
But we got hockey sticks. We got this huge African mask, which we still have. We got like all these vintage postcards. I got this lamp. It was like Florida Seminoles, like a football helmet lamp. And everyone's like, oh, the Seminoles, whatever. Like, they're all like, I have no idea what team that is. I don't care. I know it's going to sell.
But people love that.
And it sold.
And then we bought these 2, like, lamps. These, like, hanging
They're like,
Hollywood.
They call them swag lamps, where it's, like, got the gold chain, you know, it hangs from a gold chain. It's this big, thick amber glass with, like, fake brass on top. And it's got this, like, the pull chain is like this gold tassel. Like, it's amazing.
And so we had them up for, I think,
$350.
$350. And you know what? We took $200.
Well, he offered $175, and we were like, and he just wanted one of them. And I said, I'm not going to break it up, but I'll give them both to you for $2.25. He countered at $2. I was like, hell yeah, because I bought them for $7.
So, he feels like he got a good deal. We got money,
I love that sale. That was a good sale.
That was fun.
Oh, one sale that we had this week, which was funny. I was looking through some folders and I saw that we had some menorahs. So for Hanukkah, I was like, I need to put those up right now. And one of them sold overnight for $50.
Yep.
So it's such a funny sale because in my mind I was like, ooh, right now I need to put that up, and it actually worked. So that was a cool sale.
And it's good. And because one thing we've been doing this week is we have been getting back to putting a lot of things up.
We have been listing. And the beautiful part about it is that I taught Jay, he'll complain about this because I was a real bitch about it, how to list.
Yep.
And the funny thing was, I was really frustrated about teaching you because I felt like our process of listing was not very streamlined.
Right, because we have a template that so part of it's like embedding photos in an HTML. It's not just like taking pictures with a smartphone and then just doing it right
which
there.
Which we could do. Many people do that.
We just like the look of our store, and we like the way things are done. But it wasn't that hard.
It was so funny because I was being so cranky about it, and I was like, "Oh, I can't believe I can't believe how many steps I have to explain. It seems so like bulky and ridiculous, and we should just be doing this on our phones." And then 10 minutes later, Jay's like already getting through this.
I'm not good.
No, okay. But it was just great because I was like, wow, okay, so that was easy enough to teach a second person. You got it right away. Yep. You're like, I get it.
Yep.
Done. We have listed so much stuff. I think we've done 3 days of listing.
Right.
We've listed because if you list, 20 things and I list 20 things, that's 40 things a day.
Yep.
That's a lot of stuff.
Because, part of this was, the reason why I haven't ever done that before was because, number one, you had kind of built a system that only you understood.
Right.
It was a little bit complicated, so that you thought. And, we had split it up where I was taking the photos, but it got to where we had 50 folders that needed to get
unlisted
put up.
Stuff. Yeah.
Just because, taking photos is the easier part.
I wouldn't call it easier. I would call it faster. It's just faster. It just goes by. You can take way more photos in the same amount of time than I can list. I wouldn't say it's easier.
But it's good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
I think it honestly feeds into your OCD where you're like, you're not like, oh, I'm just going to do half this folder. No, not Jay. He has to finish that folder. Right. Which to me, I'm like, yes, that is great.
And, I can see now why there's a guy on the blog who he does mainly clothes, and he hired his wife's
sister? His sister-in-law. Photograph for them, right?
To take photos. And I guess him and, I don't know, him and his wife both are just, he just puts stuff up. And I could see that, hiring someone to photograph photos, and we just
do the measurements,
list all day. But it's good.
Well, I honestly, and we've talked about this in regards to hiring someone. I like being able to switch things up because by the time the end of the week comes next week, we're going to be like, we don't want to list anymore. Let's do something else. Or tomorrow we said we're going to take some photos in the morning and list in the afternoon. So I feel like if you don't break it up, you just go crazy,
right? I mean, I think it's also interesting for me to now be putting stuff up. It's myself because I start just to see, like, I'm right now. We had all these folders of shirts. I'd taken all these pictures. I think I talked about that. I'd taken pictures of like 200 shirts or something.
Many,
I'm listing all of those, and I'm just like, these don't really sell very high.
Or very high,
or at least it doesn't seem like it. And then it just makes me realize, like, man, only buy things you want to list,
Right.
Like,
you have to care. You have to be like, wow, this thing's so cool. I love looking at this thing.
Don't buy things you don't want to personally list,
Yeah.
That's really the rules. So,
yeah.
I mean, if you love plush toys, buy them and list them because you love them.
If you love men's button-down dress shirts.
Whatever, yeah. But
the good thing is, with those is...
I'm never going to buy another shirt, I swear.
No, I swear. I know. Me too. I'm totally right there with you. We went to the thrift store like a couple times this week, and we were like, oh, this is kind of a nice shirt. And we just looked at each other and we were like, do not get that. If you get that, I will like hurt you. Because
I think these shirts will eventually sell, but just our experience has been just, they don't sell.
They're low.
They don't sell that well.
Even high-end dress shirts with like French cuffs, you can find those all day long on eBay for nothing.
Yeah, I think too, I think the issue too with stuff like that, and with clothes in general, I know people do well with clothes. We actually sell a lot of clothes too. Yeah. It's just... there's a lot of competition out there because there's a lot of people. They go to Goodwill because that's the entry point, and that's a lot of what they sell. And so people are like, okay, I'm going to buy shirts for $3, and sell them for $20.
It's worse for us because we can buy clothes in bulk for $5 for 2 kitchen trash bags full of clothes.
Right.
So I'm sure most people are like, why the hell wouldn't you do that? That's insane. Why would But for us, we're just like, well, the price isn't high enough.
I think too, and I think we've talked about it. That's one thing about eBay is that it's perfect. It can evolve with you. So we started selling clothes 6-8 years ago and shoes, and we've slowly evolved to not really liking to sell clothes. Not because it's not good. People still make a lot of cash on it, but it's just not something we're interested in. And that's a great thing about eBay. You can just, one week, you can just focus on lamps, and then the next week you can, focus on kitchenware. Yeah. It's just, it can be whatever you want it to be.
Now, we still buy clothes. I mean, I still have a pile of stuff, but it's way more particular. Like, we are just like, it has to be pristine.
It's like 2 small piles versus in the old days, we would have a bed that would have like 5 foot high.
It'd be taller than us. Yeah. There'd be a pile of coats on the floor, and it would be taller than us.
But you know what? Those coats and old shoes, they paid for the house we're in right now to get fixed
and our second house
and renovated.
Fixed.
So
and I just put sweaters and jackets on sale again because the sale can only be 45 days. We don't usually do sales, but we want to move our sweaters and jackets, and it's been doing really well. So
yeah, I mean, we've been breaking some of our own rules.
Several
this week, like Several. We always tell people, sales don't.
They don't work.
And you know what?
They are working.
Honestly, I don't know if the stuff we sell is because it's on sale, or we're just kind of like in that mode of just whatever is going to work, let's just do it.
Yeah, I think what it is some of the jackets and sweaters are becoming a lower price point. So what people are searching for, it's gotten into that price point. Right. That's just my theory.
And then the other thing is we've been actually doing some auctions this week,
dun, dun, dun.
Which we always say not to do, but we have all this art that we've had up for 4 months now, and we do what we always do. We price it really high.
Really high.
Because, we think it's special, and then we put...
best offer, yeah.
And we sold a bunch of it.
A lot of it,
we have a bunch that's still there, and we just said, well, let's just put it on auction, and, what everyone says. Let's let the market...
decide.
And maybe some of it will, get a...
some of it will get high, or... My thing was, too, I want to lower the price because some of it maybe wasn't as special as I thought it was. It's all special, but, the stuff that was going to go for high went right away.
Right.
And the stuff that's just sitting, I want to move it out.
So we'll know by Tuesday, and we'll definitely talk about it. But, my gut is more than half of it won't sell at all. And then I bet 95% of the stuff that does sell probably only sells for opening bid.
Right.
And... that's has always been our experience. It's with auctions. At this point, we're okay with that because we're trying to because we have a lot of art we have to sell.
But my opening bids, I put for the price I wanted.
Right.
So that's something we've always talked about with people is I didn't start a single one at 99 cents.
Right.
I started some of them at 150, some of them lower than that, but, for what I want for it. Like, okay, you got to at least start it.
Yeah.
X amount.
I just hear when people talk about auctions, they always talk about the bidding wars. And I just find that, every so often it happens. It's like every so often you go to a Vegas and you hit the jackpot. But, more often than not, you're just putting those quarters in and it's just taking cash.
Yeah,
you know?
the house always wins.
Okay, so a bit of news. It was interesting. Someone posted that eBay has officially announced that you don't have to do the holiday returns for top-rated seller status.
So before it was, in order to keep your top-rated seller status
and get the 20%,
you had to do
discount.
Extended holiday returns.
Now,
that's kind of crazy.
Now, it's what's interesting and it's good. They now just did a carrot though. They said if you do turn it on and your top it's rated, you'll get an extra 5% off. So it'll be 25% off at your final value fee.
So we're top-rated sellers right now, and we actually decided to turn it on because we have a long return window anyway.
I mean, we looked at it, and so starting November 1st, which is
yesterday,
today, someone can return it by January 31st, so 3 months. And really, our return policy is like
30 days.
30 days, so we're just like
whatever.
30 days, 90 days, whatever. I mean, so if people are buying it December 10th, they're only getting, a couple extra weeks anyway.
Yeah, for me, it was more like, in my mind, what I thought the extended holiday returns was 90 days from day of purchase. So I was like, that's crazy. But now I realize there's a window that it's 90 days from, November 1st until, January 31st. Like, there's actually a set window. So when I read that, I was like, oh, I feel better about that.
Right. So, I mean, so if someone buys today, they are going to get a really long return time.
But it's only until January 31st.
But as the holiday season goes on, it really becomes shorter and shorter and shorter.
It's not till March. In my mind, it shifted as the date shifted.
Basically, they're just, it's just the same rule as any retail store.
Yeah.
Someone gets a package December 26th and then they open it, and then they have basically a month to
30 days
to return it. So
we didn't feel bad about doing that.
And who knows if it helps or not?
Yeah,
but I can't imagine it hurts. So and
they said that they put that on your listing, thinking it might help. So we'll see.
So I read this interesting story. Someone turned me on to this blog that I'm going to post to our blog. So there'll be a link there, and you can read his story. And he has this thing where he's trying to make $100,000 in 12 months, and he's doing different things, doing eBay. Now he's doing like a retail arbitrage. But it's interesting. He gives his story about retail arbitrage, which I think includes a lot of details that don't get included when you hear the story. So he went to a Toys R Us and he found a toy and he scanned it. Mm-hmm. It's like all those guys do. And he realized that he could buy it for $25 and sell it for $100,
Wow.
So he was like, I got to get some of these. But at that Toys R Us store, there were only 2 of them. So he goes home, and so he starts calling to all the Toys R Us in his area, and he ends up calling 63 stores, and he can only get 100 boxes from these 63 stores. So he says he drives to all of these stores in like a 4-state area to get these 100 boxes. Because, if he buys 100 of them, if he can make 80, he can gross $8,000, but then, there are the fees.
Right.
So anyway, but he talks about all the work it takes. He talks about getting them, he talks about sending them in, and then he talks about how long it took, and then he said it took about 6 months for them all to actually be bought.
So.
It's interesting to me that he did well on that stuff. They were like a Lego box set or something. Mm-hmm. It's a good example to me that you can make its money doing that, but it's as much work as anything else. Maybe he didn't have to actually ship it to the customer like we do,
right?
Because Amazon takes care of that. But it's to find the inventory and source it can be just as much work as anything else.
Yeah. We always talk about that. I understand why, there is an appeal of send it to FBA,
right?
You could send it from anywhere. You could send it from the state that you had to drive to,
Yeah.
But still, you're like, dude, I just went to my thrift store, but I had to list every individual item, on its own. It's a different thing.
Yeah. It just, I guess I I guess I read stories like that, and I just, it just makes me grateful for the way we do it. And I think the way we do it works for us.
Yeah, it works for us. It works for how we want to work.
Right.
I don't want to drive to 4 different states to buy Legos.
Right.
I don't.
Right. We like digging around in the dark corners.
The musty, moldy.
Yeah, church basements. I love that.
Yeah. I definitely found some moldy stuff at our thrift store this week.
There's nothing more. Yeah, we actually
I did wash it, but...
We found this old oilskin... it's
a duster jacket.
A duster. It's like in Australia. It's from Australia. It's like one of those cowboy.
It's for a cowboy. Yeah. And it was moldy, but the great thing is about stuff like that, you can just either wipe it down with, vinegar, or I just threw it in the washer and it was fine.
Yeah. And basically we got it for free, and they'll probably sell for $75.
Yeah, minimum $50.
Yeah.
So that's a nice find, but that's the stuff I love to find. You know, it's just so unique. And for me, I look at stuff like that and I'm like, who the hell in our town? Although there are a lot of cowboy type people where we live, but who had this? It's made in Australia. It's a very unique item. You don't see stuff like that around here.
It's just one of those things, like a lot of the stuff we find. Someone bought it one time and then they just threw it in a closet, and then either they're downsizing or they're doing a clean out, or the person dies and someone else is doing it for them. Like, that's how... it's like when we find new in the box stuff from like 1970s.
Oh, it's amazing.
Like we found, this happened this year, we found a whole box of like polo kind of shirts, like it's golf shirts, new in the packaging, and
from like the 60s.
And it's got the funky advertising on it.
With like the dude with the golf club, like who looks like Don Draper.
Someone just bought these and then just threw them in a closet.
And there were 3 of them, 3 different colors.
No one ever,
it's so... I actually listed... It wasn't the same one, but it was similar. It's this old like vintage Kmart like shirt from the 50s or 60s in the original package. And it's so funny because you're like... That long, someone left it in their closet for 60 years. They were just like,
it's so interesting. And then someone's gonna buy them.
Yeah.
And I always wonder, what's someone gonna do with that?
Are they gonna open it?
Because the piece by itself is so amazing because it's unopened. It's almost just like a piece of history. I wonder if you would put it on the wall. Or is someone just going to open it and wear it?
And just wear it.
So interesting.
Whatever. I always wonder about that too, because it's almost like you want someone who does props for a show to buy it. Some people do.
Yeah.
Some of those people. But I think the hard thing about selling clothes like that is you can't measure them.
Right.
They do have the size on them. Like today, the one was 16 and a half. Okay, but that's fine. But
I think when it's in the packaging, it's like that. Again, the value of it is because you found something that... Where else are you going to find
I know. You'll never find that. I know. It's amazing.
So, some of the things that people were talking about in the blog this week, there were a lot of comments.
Okay, throttling.
Right.
So, explain what that means.
So, I think it's interesting. Some people were just, it's one of these, I don't know if wives' tale is the right word, but this unfounded, or this hypothesis people have that you will sell things and then suddenly things will just stop selling.
Right.
And there's this idea that eBay has some thing in their search engine where if you have a couple of sales, they then put you to the bottom so other people can sell things, because if not, maybe only a couple people would ever, sell anything. Stuff. And, I guess that idea comes because, I'll think about it. I'm like, we have, over 3,000 items.
Why isn't something selling every minute?
Why isn't that? I think the most we've ever sold in one day is maybe 20 items.
Right.
Only 20. It's like, why can't we sell 400 items in a day?
Yeah, why aren't we?
That's
a great question.
But, I think the answer would be if we did 3,000 auctions, I'm sure we would sell a significant number of those,
Right.
500 or 600 items,
Right.
But we just choose to do it our way, and we just have to remember just the stuff we have is just
it's unique, it's weird, it's
stuff.
quirky, it's not Legos,
right.
It's not Barbies,
right.
It's not whatever all the hot frozen toys are right now.
Like, it was nice. Yesterday, we sold 10 items.
Yeah.
Which is, that's a good day.
Yeah.
It's for us, we made like almost $500.
Yeah.
And it was a good day. And it was just the most random, weird stuff.
Like, the most random stuff. Like, vintage cocktail tongs to pick up olives.
Right.
Like, those sold for $20.
A holster. A shirt, a jacket, a pair of shoes. Like a vibrator, like a back vibrator.
A massager, vibrator thing. I actually sold that on Bonanza.
That's true.
I must give credit. I sold a $120, whatever it is, massager on Bonanza.
That's nice.
But that was one sale versus like 9 sales on eBay.
Yeah, I think we've had our stuff up on that site since September, and we've sold, I think, 4 things.
4 or 5 things, yeah.
So.
Compared to eBay, which is a lot more.
The other thing that we were talking on the blog was it returns.
Yes.
Just people are, kind of getting angry that people feel like they're being forced into doing the
hassle-free.
Yeah, the hassle-free.
Because the hassle-free is tough because and I will agree with this. I at first I didn't, but we've been getting a lot more returns, and a lot of them are because clothes don't fit. But
again, put it in its perspective. We've gotten a lot of returns because of the way we've shipped. We came home and we shipped 200 items. So, of course, if we have 4 or 5% returns, we had about 10 things come back.
Right.
It's normal. If we had shipped over a period of time, it wouldn't feel like we had
all at once,
many. Yeah. And then we go away again and we ship, 60 things?
60 items,
So now we're going to get 4 things back. So, it just stinks because a lot of them have been kind of high dollar items.
Stuff. Yeah. So but the good thing is that I always have to tell myself about the high dollar items is they are high quality, cool, unique items, and they'll sell again. This person didn't want it. It didn't fit them. They didn't like it. It'll sell again.
I don't know. We don't mind the automatic return policy, or what's it called?
The hassle-free returns.
Hassle-free. Because if someone's unhappy, they're going to return it no matter what. So
it's
we just embrace
it. The thing that sucks is when people are like, items defective, and you're like,
yeah.
Okay, what? How is that defective? It didn't fit you.
And I'm going to be 2 people here. I mean, number one, I'm going to be the guy who says this. Don't worry about it.
Right.
I mean, imagine going to it's Walmart to return an item, and the person behind the counter gets into an argument
with you and doesn't believe you.
It would make me so angry. You know? But that's why those big box stores are great, because they just take it because they know they eat it and they do it. But then, this week, we've gotten a couple of returns that for some reason really got under our skin.
Again, yep.
There was a guy a couple nights ago that wrote and said that one of the sleeping bags we had sent him had a tear in it.
Right. And the reason we thought this was odd was because I inspect every single piece of those sleeping bags. I look at every end. I turn them inside out. I make sure they're okay. Because they come from the military. They've been in use, I'm like, I just want to make sure they're good.
And then, so I was being the good guy. I'm like, all right, we'll just send you another one. It's no problem.
Right.
And then he writes back in and says, oh, by the way, the bag, the stuff bag also had a tear in it. So why don't you just send me, it's one of those too. So I'm like, oh, all right, this guy's like, so it's when I told him.
Just send
I was really angry, and I just you know what? Let's do it official. Go through the hassle-free returns, do an official thing.
Right.
Let's get it on the record. And then I felt bad because it turned out he emailed me pictures, and he was just a guy.
Yeah,
he was being honest. I was just being. It's number one. I was angry that I was going to lose inventory.
Right.
And
we had to send out a whole other thing for free.
And so that's all. And it was not worth it all. And it kind of ruined my whole night. And I didn't sleep well. And that's just
God, Jay.
It's true. It's just, that's how much I cannot get upset about those things.
I think part of the problem is that, like we said, we went away and then we came back and shipped 60 items plus the 200 before that. And we were just getting, like, hammered. It was like, I look at the list of stuff we sent and a majority of them are not getting returned. But there's that few.
Well, I mean, it's like I said, it's 4%.
Right.
That is normal for us, whether we ship a lot or
a little bit.
It's about 4% of what we sell always comes back.
But it did suck, Yeah.
So I guess my point is like, I'm still evolving on that. I mean, even though I say, and most times I'm really good about it, I'm just like, yeah, no problem, just send it back. I'll eat it. Like, I don't care. Like, it's not worth me getting. But then when I let myself, like, sometimes there'll be that little bit of crack in the door, and I'll let myself start getting personally involved, where I'm thinking like I'm getting scammed, and I just even if I am. It's like, who cares? Like, it's like never, ever worth it. You know?
Well, I think a lot of times when people are, disgruntled or they're just like, this is broken, whatever, this is not as described. I mean, you have to call the bluff sometimes because sometimes they are just fucking around, or like, they have the exact same thing that they bought from someone else, but they want to get the money back.
In all honesty, do you think we've ever been scammed?
There was one time.
Right, one lady.
And I called her bluff and she backed down.
Right, where she bought a pair of shoes from us, she wanted to return them, she sent them back, and she sent a different pair of shoes.
Well, she never sent them back. Oh, yeah. The thing was, she was in Australia. This was when you could look at people's purchases still.
Right.
I looked at her purchases on the same day as mine, and she had bought 2 of the same exact kind of shoes, one from me and one from someone else. And she's like, you sent me the wrong size. I was like, well, you clearly bought a different size from someone else, and so that must be the one you're looking at. She's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's the only time.
But I think that's something to acknowledge. I mean, we've sold thousands of items. And you know what? Sometimes people are picky and they just want to return things, but
rarely is anyone actually scamming you.
Yep.
I mean, most people are just like unhappy with it and will find any excuse to return it or get money back. And you just have to face that.
When they do, we're just like, send it back.
Send it back.
No problem.
And they're like, but I want to keep it, but you should still give me money. It's like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you figure it out.
Yep. And this is just a random thing I was thinking about. Like, there are some things that we now never buy at retail. I was thinking about this.
Okay.
Like, I was...
Like everything?
It's my hands and, I grabbed soap. We have so much soap. We have like a whole tub of like a little hand soaps.
And where we get them.
We are always picking them up at yard sales or
thrift stores.
We'll buy a big box for $0.25. People give them away for free.
And some of them are like, they're like those little hotel soaps. So like when people go to hotels and they keep the soap and whatever, and then they'll like give them to you at yard sales. We have so many of those. It's like,
and it's great,
ridiculous.
Things like towels, we never buy towels either because
we always find
you can
those.
Buy them at auctions, like a big box of them.
Yeah.
Any kind of kitchenware, that kind of stuff.
Oh, it was so funny. I was talking to my friend today, and I was like, oh, we don't have any silverware at the other house, and we needed some temporary silverware over there. And I was like, I'll just go to the thrift store. It will literally cost me nothing to just buy a few forks and knives and spoons. Right now, it doesn't matter if they match or not. It's like so funny.
And things like... it's lawn tools.
Oh my God.
Never buy those new.
We have so many of them.
There's like one auction we go to regularly. There's always like a big container of tools like hoes and shovels and rakes that no one wants. And I'll end up buying them all for $5.
Yeah.
Like, I have too many lawn tools. I don't even do that much.
I have too many trowels. Like,
I have...
although I do use them, so...
Right.
But yeah, it is funny to look around our house and just be like, I would never go to a regular store and buy that because it's in abundance, I have to give this stuff away because I have too much of it.
Well, it's to the point now where, like things like the as lawn tools, I'll now only try and get the ones that are really quality, or the ones I don't, and then I'll take the old ones and give them back away.
Right,
so it's almost like I'm trading up.
Trading up, yeah. Yep. I did buy a brand new set of clippers the other day, though, because the clippers I had for clipping like shrubs were so dull.
That was an example where we'd been looking and looking and looking.
We couldn't find them.
It took about 4 months, and I just never ran across a good pair.
And it was so
clippers.
hard because I do a lot of like trimming over at the other house. Like we have a wisteria tree, which is a nightmare, and you need sharp clippers.
Right.
So I just bought them at Walmart.
Right.
I was like, I have to get these.
That was worth it.
That was worth it. I literally carry those around in the truck with me in the front seat. Like, these are staying in the front seat with me.
So this week for us, we're just going to we're back in action.
Yeah,
now that we both list, we're going to get through these. It's 50 folders, which is going to be, 700 items, 800 items that are going to go up.
A lot of stuff.
We have a lot of pictures we have to take too, so we're just back into it. We got the wood stove going. We're cooking meals, big meals that we then eat on for 3 days afterwards.
Jay always says we're going to eat on it.
Eat on it.
We used our vintage crock pot that we got at the thrift store. Now I'm obsessed with them and have to sell them on eBay.
It's great.
We have 4 of them to sell. Yeah, I love doing that. I love making a big pot of something on, Sunday or Monday, and then a big, bowl of rice, and you just eat it all week.
Eat on it.
You eat on it.
You eat on it.
You just gotta eat on it. Yeah, basically.
Our cats are glad we're back. They're all excited.
We're in this one room where there's a couch and a couple chairs, and now that we both have laptops, we just start sitting in here listing, and the cats just sit in here with us.
Yep.
It's kind of cute.
They'll just hang out.
It feels good to be back working.
And the rule is list what we love, and someone else will love it too, right?
Yes, list something that you think is interesting,
and someone else will too,
and sell it. Like those lamps that we sold today, those swag lamps. He actually wrote me an email and was like, I used to have these in the 70s. My sister had them in her room, and I gave them away, and I never should have gave them away. But it's so funny to me, and it always kills me, and I've said this before, when it's so special like that, but they want to talk you down on the price so much. I'm like, if it was that special, you'd be like, I have to buy these.
Oh, don't think of that. Just think of that it's going to go to
it is. It is going to a perfect home. So I'm happy about that.
I mean, I think about that, though. Imagine going into a store and seeing these lamps for and they're for $350. That's crazy.
A lot of money.
I mean, someone paying $200 for a pair of lamps. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's a big purchase.
I'll put them. Maybe that'll be the picture for the podcast. You'll see these funky amber swag lamps.
Yeah,
they're pretty sweet.
Okay, so we have a couple of questions. Not too as many. It's this week that people have emailed in to us. Obviously, you can always go to our blog at scavengeralife.com and just
jump
leave
into
a comment.
The comments.
Comments are getting a little bit out of control. I mean,
in a good way.
Yeah, I hope people are enjoying it. I mean, there's a lot of conversation going on. I don't want it to get too overwhelming, but it's good that people are talking to each other, and I know I've been picking up a lot of good info.
Yeah.
Annalisa writes,
Annalisa, is this the calm before the storm? Sales are sucking. I looked at your last October sales, and interestingly enough, you sold one more than last October. That's what Jay said too. Yep. Yeah. This is my first year. Is this something that happens every time before Christmas? So that's something we did think about also this week.
I don't know. It's just, I think I have some kind of amnesia where I just forget sometimes what it's like, I don't remember exactly. I looked at the numbers too in our October. Last year was just like this time, and actually it's good.
Yeah, I think it's that whole thing wherever that retail speak. Fourth quarter, it's the fourth quarter. Come on, and you're just like, all right, where is it? Is it going to happen? Is it still economic depression happening?
I think too, now that the Amazon people, the FBA people are such in full force, I think their numbers make eBay people feel bad because, like these people, they'll sell like 1,000 items in a month.
Yeah.
Where, we're selling like 150,
Right, it's a different
It's just because they're just selling different kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Different prices.
I don't know. The numbers feel different.
I think what needs to work for you, for each of you, is just like whatever money you're trying to make,
Yeah.
So if you're making the money that you need to make to pay bills, and just be nothing but grateful.
Yeah, I mean, we have to check ourselves, basically. We just have to check ourselves. Where we're like, we have to look at the numbers and be like,
It's
like, our numbers are great,
it's
actually.
Like we aren't a publicly traded company where our stock always has to go up and, all that stuff. We're just trying to live our lives. And if your numbers don't work, like if you aren't making enough to pay your bills, then number one, list more. And number two, make sure the stuff that you are putting up is worth it.
Yeah.
Like if you're just selling junky $5 items, you're never going to probably make enough to pay rent.
Yeah. Shannon says, "Hi, I have a basic store with approximately 130 items so far. I've been selling on eBay for about 3 months and doing well, but I wanted to know how to keep my listing fees down. I started with auction, then I switched to buy it now, and had items relisting every 7 days or so. I want to list good till canceled to keep costs down, but I'm worried that items won't refresh to be seen by buyers. What do you do?" It's just funny because, we do good till canceled, and I don't buy into the whole not refreshed so buyers see it. If they're looking for my item, they'll find it.
Right.
If you don't think eBay will bring your item up for people to see, what is the point of selling on eBay? Like, they're going to find it.
Yeah.
So relisting every 7 days and paying for listing fees every 7 days is insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's no one has been able to point to like true scientific evidence that for some reason eBay would penalize people for allowing their listings to keep being posted.
Yeah, so. I do not buy into that. And as we always say, we do good till canceled. We list it and forget it.
And like that lamp that we keep. Well, we're gonna keep using it as an example.
Lamp.
This lamp has been up for over a year. We bought a year and a half ago. Probably took us several months to put up. It's been up for over a year. And today we finally found the right person who had an emotional connection to this old lamp and was willing to pay us for it. So I don't think like it was hidden and all these people would have loved to have bought it.
It was like the right person didn't come along.
It's just that we sell weird stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know what you sell, Shannon, but another thing too is like bring the amount of listings you have up. 130 items is a good amount, but it's not very much for eBay.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it's before. I don't think we started to see regular sales till we had 500 items in our store, and really is more like 1,000 items before we were basically selling at least one thing
Everything
a day.
Something every day.
Even at 500 items, there would be a day or two that would go by where things wouldn't sell.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, I just feel like it's not reasonable to think you can have a store with 130 items and that you're going to sell something every day.
So
you would have to be, I mean, if that is something a person wants to try, then you really have to be like a ninja supreme scavenger. Where like those 130 items are like the most amazing items that
people are dying to buy on eBay. And that takes a lot of time. Jesus, I haven't even figured that one out.
I mean, we aren't. I'm not that good of a scavenger, and that's why we do more of like a shotgun approach. It's just like I get a lot of cool stuff, and I put a lot of cool stuff up, but I don't know what's going to sell today.
It's a mishmash. I mean, that's our approach because we like that approach, but people can do different things. So, okay, so Cindy asks me in particular, what parameters did you use to look for your laptop? I'm not sure what to look for. The funny thing about buying this laptop was I was actually buying it for someone else. I was buying it for Jay. So I wasn't buying it for myself, which is kind of a funny thing. So I was thinking, what is a good laptop for Jay? So I looked for a MacBook Air because I wanted it to be light and easy to travel, and he didn't need anything besides that. I looked for something that had a pretty fast processor. It's a Core i5. That was it.
I mean, really, like,
that was it.
Like, I'm the kind of guy where mainly what I do is just all online.
Yeah.
So I don't need, like, some crazy computer that can do graphics and all that kind of stuff.
So I need a MacBook Pro because I do video and audio, and I stream video and, you know, all that stuff.
Edit podcasts.
Which is what I'm going to do in about 2 minutes. But Jay does, as you see, he's doing email. He's doing stuff on the blog.
And, you know, we're Mac people just because we like the ease of use.
Yeah,
and we've been
Mac people for a long time. We've
done it for a long time. I think anyone that's involved in video and audio, But so, I'm sure a PC that just was simple and would get online. I really love this MacBook Air that Ryan got me. Because number one, she got it for me. But number two, it's almost like having an iPad. It's so light. It's awesome.
That was the thing that I really wanted, because the MacBook Pro is heavy as crap. It weighs like 6 pounds or something. Right. Actually, I should weigh it. But yeah, so for me, the MacBook Air, and I wanted to get it for under $400. And I wanted to buy it from someone who just did electronics recycling. And I did find this person in Austin, Texas, where they only sell used computers and used components, because they guaranteed it for like 90 days. So if anything was wrong with it, they would take it back with no problem. It wasn't just like some random dude just selling his old laptop. It was like someone who had refurbished it and made sure it was good to go. So I bought it for $375 plus $15 shipping.
Cool. And I love it because I now a list on it. So maybe that is Ryan's gift to me, so I would actually, you know.
Yeah. So cool. I love it. I got it on eBay. Totally love it.
So that's it for the show. I will say I just looked at my phone. We just sold an item. We sold one of the shirts I listed today. So
that's so good, Jay. Doesn't that make you feel good? $20.
$19.99, yeah.
$20. But you know what? We bought that shirt for
5
nothing.
Cents, yeah.
2 cents.
I mean, and you know, if we sell the 200 or 300 shirts that I'm going to put up, then you know we'll make a lot of money. But it's just going to take time.
It's putting all that stuff in the pipeline. Basically, you put it in there.
That's right. Got to keep feeding that fire.
And we'll never buy them again.
That's right.
That's pretty much how it goes.
Okay, guys.
Okay. Good podcast, Jay.
Are you ready?
That turned out well after all.
Podcast is over in 3,
2, 1, 0.
Bye.